Max Sterling, welcome to LarpMix. Today I want to talk to you about something that I think many people have probably never tried and most people do not do, and that is play a good character. I know that personally I enjoy playing characters that are more like rogues, thieves, things like that, because you get to be sneaky and test your skills, and I like puzzles and things like that. So those are the type of characters I generally gravitate towards. I also enjoy the aspect of combat, but I don't like sort of the whole front line, always fighting, never thinking type of role, which I know some people do enjoy. And in my opinion, there's no wrong role. It is whatever you enjoy playing, and if it meshes well with the community, then that's great. Play whatever you want to play that makes you happy. So I never put anyone down for whatever they decide they want to play at a game, as long as it's not interfering with the game or others' enjoyment. But what I don't see that often are good characters. And when they are, they're usually ridiculed, chastised, and the people that play them are sometimes to blame because they try to play them like these arrogant paladin type styles, or something they've seen from movies, or something that they've cooked up, and I think that's why it doesn't work. Playing a good character is a lot more than that, and a lot of times when you're playing those type of good characters, they're not actually good. So to try to define what good is very difficult. If you look it up in a dictionary, it doesn't really tell you a lot. It says it's something of, high quality but not excellent, denoting that it is flawed. It's not great, it's good. It's basically doing the right thing. You can look at the definition. I was not horribly impressed by the definition of good. So to define good as it would relate to saying good or bad or good or evil, then I think we need to come up with our own definition or define it as we would see fit, which is of course flawed in its own way, because everyone would view that through a different lens and view that differently. So when I think of good, I think what you need to do is not set down a code like a knight would have a code, because codes can certainly be flawed. Even if they're meant to be righteous or good, they might not be. I think for good, we just need sort of a good moral compass and sort of a gauge of what we will accept and what we won't accept, and when we would act and when we wouldn't necessarily act. So things like don't murder. All right, obviously. Don't cheat, don't steal, don't covet, respect your elders, have good manners. Good manners doesn't necessarily mean knowing which fork to use at dinner. It just means basically going out of your way to help others, hold the door for someone, pick something up if someone drops it, being of use, being of service, and being helpful. I think I would describe good in that type of way. So this way, whenever I'm playing the game, I'm not held to a hard and fast code where if something happens I have to have this action, but more or less if something happens I gauge that and then react appropriately. So people stealing into a shop, or people breaking into a shop to steal things, the sentence isn't murder. I don't fireball the shop and kill tons of people. That's not good. You can't justify it away and say, oh, well, this was a bad person, so therefore I brought good onto them by murdering them. That's not how good should work. Good should work within the letter of the law. Assuming there is law, if there is no law, then you should figure out what you want to do with that individual, or take them to a place where there is law to help with them. Now, laws, of course, can also be flawed. They may not be good. The people enacting or carrying them out may not be good. So that is ultimately not up to your character to decide. Now, if you know some place is flawed, then maybe you choose to go somewhere else. If you don't know that, then you just do your part. So I don't want you to get caught up too much in the details of being good, but just be good. Now you may ask yourself, well, why the heck would I want to play a character like this? They sound like a snitch, they sound like a narc, nobody's going to like them, nobody's going to want to walk around with me, I'm going to be all alone. Well, unfortunately, I have seen that. A lot of the good characters I've seen people play are usually alone. unless they happen to have a whole group of friends and they're all doing the same thing. But I find that sometimes if you get too many people with their ideas of good, that it can cloud the waters and create problems, which is why I think in a lot of mythos and storytelling that when we see a good character, they are alone. They have a secret identity of some kind. It's not because they don't want their picture taken by paparazzi, it's because they're hiding themselves from the world, because the world is inherently evil. And they are some sort of, shining beacon here, a candle in the dark. I think of something like Superman. Now, Superman, I don't consider to be good, but he's certainly not necessarily evil. But, this is a person who's completely alone, with powers to do great things, and they choose to do them. Sometimes, questionable, but most of the time, good is driving the decisions. So, if you do play a character like this, yeah, you may be alone. But this is why this is challenging and why I'm doing this whole video on a good character, because everyone has certainly played just sort of a neutral or an evil character. And I'm not talking about Dungeons & Dragons alignments. I think alignments are really stupid because people do not fall into categories like that. People are not so easily stamped out of cookie cutter precedents. People are dynamic, they evolve and change, and just because they did evil today doesn't mean they won't do good tomorrow. Just because they do good on the weekends doesn't mean they don't do evil during the week. People are not that simple. Your character should never be that simple. That is one reason why I don't like that tabletop game, and I almost never play it, is it is too conforming. I like things that are more open, more realistic. Not to bash that game, but I don't like alignment systems in any game that would have them, but that's one that obviously comes to mind. So, when we talk about playing a good character, it is tough to play a character like that, and that's why it's challenging and interesting. I was at a convention many years ago, and we were playing a live-action Shadowrun game, which was sponsored by the company. I forget who it was at the time. It was probably like 4th edition, because this wasn't that long ago. It wasn't FASA. But anyways, I went to the convention, and basically they had pre-made characters. And everyone got the cool characters. I was sort of last to draw. And the characters that were left, I did not like. I've been playing Shadowrun for many, many years, and sort of knew what I wanted to play. And the only thing left in the pile were just stuff I did not want to play at all. So you know what? I picked the character I least wanted to play. I picked the worst character out of that lot, and that's the one I played. And you know what? I devoted everything. I poured my all into that character. And at the end of the session at that convention, they had awards for the best role player or whatever, and I won. So, I think it was like a t-shirt or something. I don't know, it might have been more than that. But I won the award for that, and that was based on other players and the people that worked for the company from what they had saw. So I turned a weakness into a strength. I took that character I did not like, and I played it to its fullest. And it was one of the most challenging roles I've ever played. It was also one of the most memorable and the most fun characters I've ever played. And that's what sort of got me thinking about this video, because we play a lot of the same stuff and over. And I believe, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over but expecting different results, right? If you always play rogues, or you always play knights, or you always play, cat people or something, and you wonder why your games are all the same, that could be why. Now, if you enjoy it, I'm not saying by any means to change. I'm just saying if you want to challenge yourself, if you've been LARPing for a long time, you're a veteran type player, step out of your comfort zone, out of your depth, and try playing something completely different. And good characters, really truly good characters, not I say I'm good, but really, I'm still going to steal this pie, actually good characters, hard to play, and I would like for people to try to check that out. The next time you have a game or a one-off, or if you make a new character, try making a good character. You do not have to be a knight. You do not have to be religiously aligned to be good. You do not have to go to church to be a good character. A lot of people, they like to put all that together. It's like as soon as you say, oh, I'm going to play a good character, immediately paladin aligned to a certain deity or something like that, or whatever your game's role system is, you're immediately this type of person. You pigeonhole and you put your character into that box. Don't do that. You can play a goblin and you can be good. You know, you can play whatever you want and you can be good, as long as the decisions you make, the actions you take, align with good and not some sort of perversion of the definition of good, just good. And if your list of good is only 5 items long, if it's no murder, no theft, no lying, say, helping others as much as you can, and not accepting money, I don't know, for deeds. I mean, that could be your 5 things, your tenets that you stick by. Being good doesn't mean you don't take money. If you put in work and there's an agreed upon price, you should totally take the money. I see a lot of good characters, they always want to turn down money. It's like, why are you turning down money? That makes no sense to me. You exist in a system, whatever it is, you need money to survive and continue to do your deeds. If someone says, I'll pay you a gold coin to do this, and you do the thing, collect your gold coin. That was the price that, they offered for the service. So I don't think that if you play a good character, you should necessarily be turning down rewards. Now, if the rewards are something that would be evil, then yeah, maybe you turn it down. Or something lecherous or adultery or something like that, maybe you turn down those type of rewards. But you should have negotiated that up front anyways. So they shouldn't be offering you weird things at the end if you negotiated well. But back to playing good character. So I've been talking your ear off. This video is probably more well suited for a podcast than it would be a video, but I'd like to see more good characters out there. There's at least one game I play or I go to, and there are 0 good characters. I've seen a few over the years, and they are ridiculed, laughed at, and sometimes the players actually just stop coming to the game altogether, out of game. A lot of times they'll change their character, or even worse, their good character will get turned into sort of a neutral character, or maybe a character with a flawed code where sometimes they're good, but really it depends on who they're traveling with, and you can easily sort of talk them into evil or get them to turn their back to certain things, and I don't like that. I think just playing a good character can help elevate others to be good. Now, obviously in a game, you have your rogues and stuff, and they're supposed to do certain things. Now, that's great, and I'm not saying that your character has to be perfect, but if you want to challenge yourself, try playing a good character. And like I said, they don't have to be a knight, they don't have to be religiously aligned, they don't have to follow some sort of code, just have a good moral compass. And if you think you have a good moral compass, a lot of people think they have a good moral compass and they don't. I would just suggest, like I said, to make a short list of things that your character would not be a part of or partake in, and just follow by that. So when you go on a mission and they tell you to, do something particularly vile, you just sit it out. You don't go. And then furthermore, question the actions of your party members that are going to do the thing. Lean on them a little bit, put a little bit of guilt on them. It can create a lot of tension and a lot of dynamics that you may not have experienced before in a game. I mean, if you run with a crew of mercenaries or something, and you don't care what the objective is, this is what you're being paid to do, this thing, and you just go every time and do it without question, well, question it and see what happens. Create for some interesting depth, I think, in a game. So I like to use the good characters as something to sort of just challenge that norm, because from what I see, most people just want to play characters that are, like I said, sort of just maybe like themselves in real life, neutral most of the time. They can be swayed one way or the other depending on the time of day, who they're with, if they need to be someplace quickly, how much it's paying, etc., etc. I mean, for the most part, from what I've seen, most characters are somewhat mercenary. Now, other games where you have factions and things like that, that's a whole different thing. But you can still probably have a little bit of, movement one way or the other in groups like that. So, like I said, I challenge you to try to be a good character. Check it out. If you've played a good character, please comment below. I'd love to hear about stories of a good character you may have played. And, for me, myself, I don't really know that I've played any good characters out of LARP. I certainly haven't tabletop though, and it was always interesting. I always found it to be quite amusing, and you know, it always creates a little bit of drama and tension and some conversations that you wouldn't normally have, which I thought was very interesting because it gives you a lot of insight into the other people's characters. And as a GM or someone who's running a game, you could also, you know, inflict these characters upon others if you need to, but play them right. Don't play them over the top zany, because then that's what sort of gives these type of characters that stigma that, you know, they're a babysitter, or, you know, people don't want them with the party. You know, just play them cool. You know, not murdering people is probably pretty cool, right? I hope, okay? But, you know, have these characters sort of, you know, intermixed in, and if you want to play one, you know, I challenge you to try that, and if you do, come back and comment, even if it's a few years from now, and let me know how that worked out for you. You know, for those of you that play good characters now, and you follow some sort of code or whatever, that's fine, you can do that. I'd be curious to see how that works out for you as well, and see if you're a loner, or if people are okay with it, or if you've run into any difficulties. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. I have all kinds of videos, probably at least 1 or 2 more videos coming out this year. As long as I have the time, I'm thinking probably something post-apocalyptic again. I know LARPs in many areas are probably coming to an end, or they might already be over, so this is a good time during winter to check out my backlog of videos. I have way over 200, probably 250. I'm probably pushing almost 300 videos. So there's plenty of LARP content out there on this channel. Just click in, find my video list, and just go through. There are tons and tons of videos for every LARP scenario you could probably imagine. And if you don't see something, email me, comment below, and I'll try to make the video for you. We're all in this hobby together. I love LARPing. I don't care where you're from, what you consider LARP to be, because LARP is a very broad category. If there's something you'd like for me to talk about, I'm more than happy to give it a shot. And of course, as always, adventure on.